Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening to Dr. Nur Saadah and my friends. So we are from Emirate Group. So today we are gonna present about depreciation straight line method. So before we start the presentation, I would like to introduce my group members. So start with me. My name is Maizatul Fariza binti Azid, and the second one is Anis Idayu binti Rosli. And the third one is Nur Atikah Nabila binti Muhammad Amran. And the last one is Mariam binti Muhammad Ali. So now we are going present our slide. So before we start the presentation, I will explain the contents that we will present today. So the first one is introduction of depreciation. The second one is depreciation concept. The third one is causes of depreciation. The fourth is method by straight line method. And the last one is we will explain the question 1 and question 2. So now we go to the introduction to depreciation. So depreciation is the part of the original cost of a non-current asset that is consumed during its period of use by the business. So next is what we have found in the MFRS 116. The depreciable amount cost less residual value should be allocated on a systematic basis over the asset's useful life. The residual value and the useful life of an asset shall be reviewed at least at each financial year and if expectations differ from previous estimates, the changes shall be accounted for as a change in an accounting estimate under MFRS 108 accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates and errors. And the second one is the depreciation method applied to an asset shall be reviewed at least at each financial year and if there has been a significant change in the expected pattern of consumption of the future economic benefits embodied in the asset, the method shall be changed to reflect the change pattern. Such a change shall be accounted for as a change in an accounting estimate in accordance with MFRS 108.
Okay, next is concept of depreciation. So for the first one is depreciation expenses. Depreciation expenses is to recognize the depreciation expenses for the current year. These depreciation expenses we disclose in the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. As for accumulated depreciation, the total amount of depreciation are expended by the company over the life of asset. So this accumulated depreciation will disclose in the statement of financial position. Next is causes of depreciation, or we call it factor of depreciation. First, this is because the physical deterioration such as wear and tear through use or erosion and decay. Next, for the second one is economic factors such as obsolescence or inadequacy. Third, time where assets have a legal life fixed under a contract. And lastly is depletion, where the assets are of a wasting character.
To calculate the depreciation value, it have two method, which is the first straight line method and second is the reducing balance method. For this video, we focus on the straight line method. Okay, the meaning of the straight line method is generally the most basic depreciation method. It includes equal depreciation expenses each year throughout the entire useful life until the entire asset is depreciated to its salvage value. For example, if the company using the straight line method, the depreciation value of an asset will be same until the end of the useful life. If the depreciation amount is 2,000, each year the amount will be same, which is 2,000 until the end of the useful life. That is a meaning of the equal depreciation expenses each year throughout the entire useful life until the entire asset is depreciated to its salvage value. Okay, next, what is the salvage value? Salvage value is the estimated book value of an asset after depreciation is complete, based on what a company expects to receive in exchange for the asset at the end of its useful life. It means salvage value is the value of asset at the end of the useful life, which is if the company want to sell the asset at the end of the useful life, how much they can receive from the sale. So the company will estimate the estimated value is the salvage value.
For the formula for straight line method, we have two different formula. The first one is cost minus to estimated disposal value or salvage value and divide it by number of expected years of use or useful life. The second formula, if the question have give you the percentage, you need to multiply the percentage with the cost of asset. Here is the example. The machine had a cost of 24,000 ringgit. A salvage value is 2,000 ringgit and a useful life is 5 years. So cost 24,000 ringgit minus with salvage value 2,000 ringgit and divide it by useful life 5 years. You will get 4,400 ringgit for the depreciation expense for current year. So, this is how you need to record on the adjusting entry. On the debit side, you need to record depreciation expense for machine 4,400 ringgit. And on the credit side, you need to record accumulated depreciation for machine 4,400 ringgit.
So next we go to the question 1. Okay, so as we can see in the slide is for additional information number 1, the depreciation expense using the straight line method at the rate of 10% per annum for furniture. So for the solution, as for the first step, we need to calculate the depreciation expenses. So we use the formula which is cost multiplied by the percentage given in the question. So depreciation expenses equal to 15,000 multiplied by 10%. So we get the amount is 1,500. Okay, so as the in trial balance, we have the accumulated depreciation furniture for 1,500. So we need to calculate the accumulated depreciation, which is we need to add from the amount accumulated depreciation furniture in the trial balance and we add with the new amount of depreciation expenses, which is accumulated depreciation equal to 1,500 plus by 1,500. So we get the accumulated depreciation is 3,000. Okay, next, as we have done the calculate part, which is we calculate the depreciation expenses, the second step we need to do is open the general journal and the ledger account. So as for the general journal, we will debit the depreciation expense and credit the accumulated depreciation. Next, as for the ledger, we will open two account of ledger, which is first one is depreciation expenses and the second one is accumulated depreciation. Okay, as for the depreciation expenses ledger, in the debit side, we will record the accumulated depreciation 1,500 and then we balance it for the debit and credit side. And once we have balanced the both side of the debit and credit, we will get the balance BD amount, which is 1,500. Okay, next for the accumulated depreciation, on the credit side we will record the balance BD, which is the balance BD is we get the in the trial balance as for the beginning of balance BD of the accumulated depreciation, and then we record the depreciation expense 1,500 as we get for the calculate the new depreciation expenses just now. So we need to balance both side of the debit and credit side. So we get the balance BD is 3,000. Next, when we have done calculate the depreciation for the first step and the second step, we open the ledger and the general journal. So the last step, if we need to adjusted the trial balance, and then we open for the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, and then the statement of financial position for the company. Okay, so as we can see at the adjusted trial balance as at 31st December 2022. Okay, so the accumulated depreciation for furniture, we record it as the 3,000, and the depreciation expense of furniture is 1,500. Okay, as for the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, we will record the depreciation expense of furniture on the expenses category because the depreciation is expense. So we record it, the amount is 1,500, and as for the statement of financial position is we record under the non-current asset, which is the cost of furniture we get on the trial balance is 15,000, and the minus by the accumulated depreciation, which is we get 3,000. So this is the step that we should do.
Let's look second additional information, which is a vehicle has been purchased on January 12, 2022. The cost of the asset is 35,000 ringgit. The salvage value is 10,000 ringgit and the useful life is 10 years. Calculate the yearly depreciation expenses and generalize the depreciation expenses at December 31st, 2022. So in this question, we can use the formula, which is annual depreciation expenses equal to cost minus with the salvage value divided by useful life. So in this, the solution will be 35,000 ringgit minus with 10,000 ringgit, which is its salvage value, and divided by 10 years, which is useful life. So the depreciation expenses value that we get is 2,500 ringgit. After we calculate the depreciation value, we can record in general journal, which is in date we record is 2022 and December 31st. And for debit side, we record depreciation because depreciation is expenses, and accumulated depreciation we record in the credit side because it will be reduce our non-current asset value. Okay, next we can open ledger for the two account, which is depreciation expenses and accumulated depreciation. For depreciation expenses, in debit side we record accumulated depreciation, the amount will be 2,500. And then we balance it, the debit side and the credit side. After we balance it, we got balance BD in debit side, the amount will be 2,500. Next, we can open accumulated depreciation for vehicle, which is in credit side we record the depreciation expenses 2,500, and for this accumulated depreciation we don't have a beginning balance on the trial balance because we buy the asset for the current year. So we just directly put the depreciation expenses for the current year, and then we balance it, the debit side and the credit side, and the balance BD that we get is 2,500 in credit side. Next, we can record the item in adjusted trial balance as at 31st December 2022, which is the depreciation expenses for vehicle we record in the debit side, the amount is 2,500, and the accumulated depreciation for vehicle we record in the credit side, the amount is the 2,500. After record in the adjusted trial balance, we can open the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. Under expenses, we record the depreciation expenses 2,500. Then we can do a statement of financial position as at 31st December 2022. Under non-current asset, we record accumulated depreciation, which is the amount of the accumulated depreciation we minus with the cost of the asset, which is 35,000 ringgit minus with the 2,500. So we got 32,000 ringgit 500. The amount is the net book value for the non-current asset. This is a full set answer for the question 1.
Let's take a look to the question 2. They give you 3 additional information. The first one and the second one is related to the depreciation. For the first additional information, vehicles should be depreciated at 8% per annum using straight line method. How to calculate? You need to take the cost of vehicles, which is 75,000 ringgit, times with the percent given, which is 8%. So you will get depreciation expenses 6,000 ringgit. And how to calculate accumulated depreciation? The accumulated depreciation for vehicles in a trial balance, you need to plus it with the depreciation expenses, which is 11,500 ringgit plus 6,000 ringgit, you will get 70,500 ringgit. After that, you need to record it on the general journal. Record the depreciation expense for vehicles on the debit side, 6,000 ringgit, and record accumulated depreciation for vehicles on the credit side, 6,000 ringgit. Don't forget to put the explanation. Next, you need to open the ledger. You need to open 2 ledger. The first one is depreciation expenses for vehicles. You need to record on the debit side with the details accumulated depreciation 6,000 ringgit. After that, you will get balance CD on the credit side 6,000 ringgit. You need to bring the balance CD to next year, which is 2022 January 1, with the details balance BD 6,000 ringgit. For the second ledger, you need to open the accumulated depreciation for vehicles. On the trial balance, accumulated depreciation has balance BD, which is 11,500. It on the credit side. So you need to record on the credit side depreciation expenses 6,000 ringgit. And then you will get a balance CD on the debit side 17,500 ringgit. You also need to bring the balance CD to the next year, which is 2022 January 1, with the details balance BD. Next, how to record it on the adjusted trial balance. You need to record accumulated depreciation for vehicles on the credit side 17,500, and you will record depreciation expenses for vehicles on the debit side 6,000 ringgit. On the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, you need to record depreciation expenses for vehicles under the expenses. And for the statement of financial position, you need to record it under the non-current asset below the vehicles 70,500 ringgit. You need to minus the cost of vehicles with the accumulated depreciation for vehicles to get a net book value.
So before we continue with the additional information for question 2, so as we know, when we calculate the depreciation, we can calculate it based on monthly basis or yearly basis. So for this question, I will focus for the monthly basis. So before I start the explanation, I will explain or I will read the question first. So the first one is, an equipment has been purchased on July 28, 2021. The cost of the asset is 80,000 ringgit. The useful life is 15 years and have service value 8,000 ringgit. Calculate the depreciation expenses using the straight line method and journalize the depreciation expense at December 31st, 2021. So this question asks, we calculate the depreciation in monthly basis. So the first step, we just use the same formula, which is cost minus salvage value divided by useful life. So the first step is we take the amount of cost, which is 80,000 ringgit, minus by salvage value 8,000 ringgit, and we divide by the useful life 50 years, and we got the 4,800 ringgit. So the 4,800 ringgit is the amount of depreciation in here. So now we need to calculate the depreciation based on how or when the equipment was purchased. So as stated in this question, the equipment purchased on July 28, 2021. So we have 5 months for calculate the depreciation. So the next step is we need to calculate for the months of depreciation for the 5 months. So we take the depreciation amount before that we have calculate based on year 4,800, then we times with 5/12, and we got the 2,000 ringgit. So 2,000 ringgit is the exact amount for the 5 months in year. So we need to multiple 5/12 because we bought on July 28, 2021. So depreciation count only for August, September, October, November, and December. We don't calculate it from July because it's already at the end of the month. So as we know, when the date is 1 until 14, we can take the month, but if the date start with 15 until 30 or 31st, we need to count the next month for the depreciation. So now we can open the general journal. So on the debit side, we can put depreciation expense for the equipment. As we know, depreciation expense was under expenses for 2,000 ringgit, and for the credit side we can put accumulated depreciation for equipment 2,000 ringgit, and then we can record is to record depreciation on equipment. Then from the general journal we can post it into ledger. So now we have two account ledger, which is depreciation expenses equipment and accumulated depreciation equipment. So we go to the depreciation expenses. So for the debit side, we start with accumulated depreciation 2,000 ringgit, and the credit side we have balance credit down 2,000 ringgit, and we balance it 2,000 ringgit. Now for the 2022 we open the balance brought down for January 1st, 2,000 ringgit. Now we can open the accumulated depreciation account. So we start it from the credit side, which is depreciation expense 2,000 ringgit, and on the debit side we have balance carried down 2,000 ringgit, then we balance it 2,000 ringgit. So for the 2022 1st January, we have balance brought down 2,000 ringgit. So next, we have Starlight Enterprise Sdn Bhd adjusted trial balance as at 31st December 2021. So as we calculate before, we can put accumulated depreciation equipment 2,000 ringgit for the credit side and depreciation expense equipment 2,000 ringgit on the debit side. Now from the adjusted trial balance, we can open the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income for the year ended 31st December 2021. So as we know, depreciation expenses is under expense, so we can put it 2,000 ringgit. So from the soft pay, now we can open the statement of financial position for the year ended 31st December 2021. So as we know, accumulated depreciation equipment was under equipment or non-current assets. So now we put under equipment, which is we deduct accumulated depreciation 2,000 ringgit. So now we go to the next part this is overall view for the question 1 and question 2. So for the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income, we have depreciation expenses vehicle ringgit and depreciation expenses for equipment 2,000 ringgit. And for the statement of financial position for the year ended 31st December 2021, we have accumulated depreciation vehicles 17,500 ringgit and we have accumulated depreciation for equipment 2,000 ringgit.
Analyzing the finding obtained from comparing the treatment from question 1 and question 2. Similarities. The first similarities is calculate the depreciation by using percentage. Both set is involved to calculate the depreciation by using the percentage given by the question. Therefore, the formula that can be used to calculate is cost of asset times percentage to obtain the depreciation value for the current year. The second similarities is calculate value of accumulated depreciation. Refer to the board question. In the trial balance is given the amount of accumulated depreciation that is not updated for the current year or the value is the new balance from the previous year. Therefore, the company must calculate the new accumulated value after calculate the depreciation value, which is the amount stated on the trial balance plus the current depreciation value. Next, both set of the question involve that the company purchasing a new asset, so the company does not have any accumulated depreciation balance on the trial balance. In this situation, the company should recognize the value of accumulated depreciation after calculating the value of depreciation expenses. For the difference, finding 1. Calculate the depreciation by using formula useful life of straight line method in yearly basis. The first set of question, the amount of depreciation is calculated for a year by using the formula of straight line method, which is cost of asset minus salvage value and divided by the useful life to get the depreciation value per year. Finding 2. Calculate the depreciation by using monthly basis. Refer to the second set of question required to calculate depreciation using a monthly basis. Monthly basis depreciation is recognized to the nearest month. For example, if the company's asset purchase date in 1 until 15, calculate the full depreciation expenses for the month, and if the company's purchase date is 16 until 31st, no depreciation is calculated for that month. You need to calculate the depreciation on the next month.